Lincoln Riley's first contract, the headline said it proves that they have a ton of faith in him because they guaranteed all 5 years. Was that a surprise move for you, Bob, leaving and Lincoln getting the job?
Well, the surprise move was Bob leaving. I'd been over to see the new facilities. They opened brand new facilities at our stadium. Our stadium now is a bowl, and they took the south end zone and they've made it into complete bowl, and they built all the new facilities and office, dressing rooms, everything there, and it's state of the art. I can't believe anything in the country is better. You know, it's always like an arms race. These NCAA college football programs trying to stay ahead of everyone else. The recruiting is so important, and I promise you, no one has anything newer than Oklahoma, and I don't believe anyone has anything better than Oklahoma right now in facilities. So their athletic dorm was completed a year ago across the street, and it is a high-rise, just a beautiful facility. Obviously, NCAA doesn't let you call it an athletic dormitory. You got to be 50% athletes and 50% student body, but they're in different wings, and so it really doesn't make any difference. They're divided from each other. They get to use the same chow hall, which really doesn't make any difference, but it's really a wonderful situation now for Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley, it wasn't a surprise at all. I knew that would be the choice. I was in Bob's office, actually, went 3 days before he makes the announcement. I went over to go through, look at the facilities. I was on a tour, and I stopped in Bob's office, and it looks like one of the Forbes CEO top 100 companies in the world, and I was in there, and he had a few boxes, and we talked a while. I had one of my ex-players who hadn't been here in 37 years came back to campus, and we were taking a tour, and everything was normal, and I'm busy with all the other coaches, and then 2 days later he announces that he's made a decision to resign, and for the reasons he gave. Well, the day after that, he gives me a call. I was driving to Oklahoma City, and he called me and said he wanted to let me know what his thinking was and all. And he told me he thought it was time. You know, he'd been thinking about it. His wife works for Mary Kay. She's a top executive. When they came here 18 years ago, hell, she was making more money than he was when the first year as head coach as an executive for Mary Kay, and still does. But finances aren't a concern for him. He has a home in Gainesville. He has one in Jackson Hole, and has two in Chicago. They pay him too damn much. And I see Lincoln Riley at 33 years old. He's starting out at $3.1 million. Now, I was making $24,000 when I started out at age 35 here at OU. So, you know, I look at it as the wrong timing for me and so many others, athletes, and you know, it's just a different age we live in. But these guys today can coach 5 or 6, 7, 8 years and be set for life, or they can play pro ball and be set for life 5 or 6 years. But you know, we still have to work today. Wimp, you and I, we didn't come along at the right time.
No, we sure
what
didn't.
They pay these guys today. But Bob told me, he said, you know, he's got a senior in high school at Norman North, and I have a sophomore grandson who's going to be a quarterback at Norman North. He's a pretty good player, and they're going to be on the team together. And I told Bob, I said, hell, we're going to see a lot of high school football games together. On Friday night, we'll be going to ball games together. And he said, yeah, we'll see a lot of games because that's what I plan on doing. And his kids are in school. He likes to travel. He just said the timing's right, the facilities are right. He's got everything in place, and he's leaving it in good shape for a good football team. And Lincoln's the right guy. He recruits the quarterbacks. He coaches the quarterbacks. He calls the plays. Lincoln is the guy. Mike Leach told me that Lincoln Riley was the best assistant coach he ever had. He told me that years ago. He worked with Ruffin McNeil at East Carolina, was his offensive coordinator. We got him from there. Now we have Ruffin Peary.
Yeah.
Ruffin is now assistant head coach. He's a great addition to the staff. Will coach defensive line, coach defensive tackles. They got 2 guys working with down people, so they're going to hire another guy. Where the NCAA allows a 10th one now, and so they've got a new guy be coming in the future. But they got everything in place. Everybody's concerned and worried. And I said, well, if they want, you know, when Chuck Fairbanks left in '72, I remember my first team meeting. Everybody said, well, Chuck's gone, and Oklahoma will probably be a second division team next year. They got this damn coach no one's heard about. My first team meeting, I remember I walked in, all our assistant coaches were laughing. I said, you know, Chuck Fairbanks is the only one that left, and I walked in the meeting room, and I said, is Leroy Selman here? He said, yeah, I'm here, Coach. Is Joe Washington here? He said, yeah. Rod Schultz, are you here? Dewey Selman, Lucius, are y'all here? He said, God, I was worried for a while. Hell, I thought, Chuck was the only one left. As long as you hadn't left, you guys are here. We're in great shape. I ain't worried about a damn thing.
They call them players, don't they, Barry?
Oh, Coach, they called players, and we went undefeated the next 2 years, and then won another national championship after that, 2 back-to-back. But we went 32-1-1, and Chuck had left, and everybody thought everything was going to go to hell. So I've kind of brought that back to the picture here. Nothing's going to change. It's players and coaches coaching, and Lincoln Riley is a damn good coach. He proved that on offense for a couple of years here with Bob, and I think it's the great thing recruiting quarterbacks. If quarterbacks are such the key today, and they are with the systems that you run today, is that Lincoln Riley's the perfect head coach, because he coaches them and he calls the plays, and he works with them and coaches them on the field. He is the offensive coordinator, and he's the head coach. So I think it's a perfect situation for recruiting purposes, and I think it's great for Oklahoma that they have Lincoln Riley here. And I know Lincoln and got to know him ever since he's been here, and I like him, and he's going to do well. Things aren't going to change. He might even get a lot better.
We're talking with Coach Barry Switzer. Coach, let me ask you about though college football. It seems like it's gotten so offensive minded. I think here in Tuscaloosa, they're going to do it defense first, and they're going to play good offense as well. If you were an athletic director hiring a football coach, would you go with a defensive minded guy first or offensive minded?
Oh my God, guys, what a difference, man! I've always heard that bull crap for years. Hey, we all know defense wins for you. We all know that. I don't give a damn what the pedigree of a head coach is. You go, you got a staff, you got a defensive staff, and you go recruit great defense. Defense still wins for you. There's no question about it. But you better defense. The difference in defense today, back in my era, you could win games 14-7, 7-0, 21-0. Then things got specialization came along, and the emergence of the black athlete, and the speed, and the size, and the number of athletes, and the change of offensive systems. And all of a sudden, you better have a good defense, but you better be able to score 35 points. That's what it is today. It's evolved to that. You still got to score 30 points or better and still have a great defense. And so it puts pressure on the offense. Defense can't win it all by itself. You better have a damn good defense. It starts with that. Nothing's changed. Defense, kicking game, and offense. But the offenses do score 30 points and a lot of points today. It'll never change. It'll never change.
Well, we were talking the other day. We think it's the culture of your football program. What is it going to be? If it's hard nose, then you're going to play hard nose on both sides of the ball, special teams and everything. But if it's just outscore,
that's why the running game is important. You're right.
Yeah.
Teams that run the football like Alabama, teams that run the football like Oklahoma. We were probably the toughest when I played, and Coach Bryant was coaching Alabama. When we ran the wishbone, hell, we never threw the football. There were games we never threw a pass. I put 500 yards on Southern Cal one day here in Norman, Oklahoma, and we didn't throw a damn ball. You know what I mean? We just averaged, we went up and downfield running the football. And I'm going to tell you, with wishbone, your offensive is the same, but the -1 is the +1. Your packages are the same. You run the same plays, and so the system allowed us to be physical on offense, and therefore your defense damn sure had better be physical, and it made you tough. But what happened is that people started spreading people out, then you had to get athletes in space, and it changed defensive structures. It changed the defensive forcing units of defenses. You can't line up 7-man fronts anymore and play 7 and 4 deep backs. Hell, you got to have 6 defensive backs out there, and you only got about 2 down linemen and have to keep people hands on the ground. Then all of a sudden you got to play Alabama, and you've got to play someone that runs the football, or a wishbone team comes along. Hey, now you got guys that ain't played all damn year. They've been playing against these spread offenses. Now they got to go out there and play. It's a tough situation to be in, and it's hard to get ready for them when we could practice. No, football teams that run the football and are physical and tough are having a tremendous advantage. Defenses have a tremendous advantage. But at the same time, if you're meeting some of those tough-ass defenses, you think the tough fronts, you know what? They're going to be sitting on the sidelines when you play those TCUs and these Oklahomas and people like that spread you all over the field, because those big old linemen ain't going to be out there. There'll be about 4 of them. That's it. And they better be good pass rushers, and they better handle the running game. And the linebackers have got to be guys that can play coverage too, the big victim as Alabama does. And of course, Alabama's talent. I thought, did they have 10 drafted and still pick number 1 this year?
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah.
So it's all about players. When you have 10 players drafted in the NFL, you're going to be picked number 1. That means that you still got a lot of good players there. They just hadn't previewed yet, it's all about players, and coaches are. Coaches and coaching is important. There's no question about it. No one out-coaches anybody today. No one's better than anybody else. Some of the guys just got better jobs than some other coaches.
No doubt.
Barry, now that Baylor's kind of in trouble, I guess it's sort of a Texas, Oklahoma, Big 12, isn't it?
I don't know what's going to happen. People ask that question here all the time. This is a poor league. It's they got a lot of weak people. The Big 8 used to be a pretty damn good league. Now, when we had Nebraska and Oklahoma and Missouri was good. Colorado used to be damn good, and the weak ones were the Kansas and the Kansas States back then, and Kansas State's got a hell of a lot better with Bill Snyder as a coach in there. But it is in trouble, and if Texas doesn't come back, and this guy, Michigan, whatever guy was at Houston, I can't. Charles, what's his name? I don't even follow coaching enough today to know his name. Herman.
Tom Herman.
Tom Herman. Yeah, and you had common first Charlie or Tom, whatever. He's the head coach, and I understand they're having a good recruiting year, but these guys aren't going to win a championship from the first year. But it's going to take a while. Texas will be back. They're the University of Texas, and they'll be back. And Oklahoma is having a tougher time recruiting. You've allowed TCU to have respectability by letting them in the league. They recruit better now. Baylor's recruiting better, and they've had a winning program for several years. So it's changed the image down there. Kids will go to school there. Good players will go there now. Oklahoma East. When I recruited Texas, it was me and Texas, University of Texas. We were the dominant teams, and any great blue chip player that wanted to have a chance to play for a national champion or contend for it every year would either go to Texas or Oklahoma. That was when Darrell Roy was at Texas and I was at Oklahoma. And, that we had a pretty good run, and there are a lot of players in Texas. But it's changed. Everyone recruits all over the nation. Kids go everywhere, and you only get 18 of them, so everybody's in the national recruiting. I never did get much in the national recruiting. I recruited Miami because we played in the Orange Bowl every damn year, and because you won the Big 8 Conference Championship. So I recruited the Elvis Peacocks and Reggie Kinlaws and guys like that out of Miami. And then we, obviously I had 2 coaches that recruited Oklahoma. Then I put everybody else in Texas. And that was where we spent our time. And we didn't need to spend any more time there when you took one. We were taking 30 then. But I was in an era that took 50. We'd take 50 here at one time. Remember that era back in the 60s? Sure. We'd take 50 players a year. With the NCAA, there was no NCAA umbrella. The league set their own scholarship limits. We'd redshirt 50. We'd go out and practice. We'd have to have colored jerseys. We'd have a red jersey, a white jersey, a yellow jersey, a blue jersey, a orange jersey, a black jersey. I mean, we had teams not colored, like that. Just by colors of jerseys, and you'd list them on the board. We'd have 8 teams. You'd be 8 deep, and it's just players everywhere. And it was a different time. You tried you're a limited number you could dress out, but boy, you had a bunch of players. Now it's just down to about 18 a year, 20 a year. You don't have an aggregate of 85 on scholarship. That's why everybody can get better. You see teams, you said 30 years ago, there's no way they could ever be a football power or ever compete. My God, they can, because, guy go and recruit well and obviously have a chance to compete. And the landscape has changed.
Okay.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you.
Do I talk too much?
No, you are awesome.
We'll play this thing back 15 times. That's great stuff.
Coach, we appreciate it very much.
Yeah. I was thinking about Coach Bryant the other day. I was visiting somebody from Fordyce, Arkansas. I grew up 40 miles from Fordyce. Of course, when I was coaching in the 70s, Coach Bryant was Alabama, and we spent a lot of time. I was talking to him about golf tournaments. I don't play golf, but I would go to golf tournaments. Remember old Charlie Boswell's
Sure.
golf tournament they'd have there in Birmingham? He'd come up and play in our golf tournament. Bud Wilkinson and I have a Swing for Sight golf tournament in Oklahoma, and Charlie would reciprocate. He would come up here, and the old boy, I forgot his name, but line his butts up, old Charlie was something, and Boswell, and we would. Coach Bryant, remember I was telling them about Coach Bryant, and I were sitting in the hospitality room there in Birmingham, and Pat James had the Pat James Lounge, or PJ's Lounge, and all. And I was sitting there, and Coach Bryant said, it's the biggest mistake I ever made, not taking the Arkansas job. I said, what the hell are you talking about? And he says, I'm talking about back when I left Kentucky, damn it. I said, when I went to A&M, I should have taken that Arkansas job. Well, those guys named Jack Stevens and all those guys offered him a job, and they gave him some stock in the company. Were offering him Arkansas, Louisiana Gas, and Jack Stevens is getting started, and he's the second largest independent investment brokerage company in the world. And today, and of course, this is he had been there part of Walmart and all that, and Tyson and that, but he said, I'm not talking about football-wise. I'm talking about financially.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I didn't know we had to think about things, but Coach Bryant thought about things like that, too. He said the biggest mistake financially ever made was not taking that Arkansas job back in 54, 55.
Yeah. Well, I hope our boy Moody's doing okay. Is Jim doing okay?
No, Jim is, I'm telling you, he's struggling. Well, I talked to Jim yesterday, and I've told you he's got ALS, and dementia's getting a hold of him, and he's a great player, and played for the Cowboys as a rookie, and won their rookie year in 1960. But he's struggling now, and he was a hell of a golfer too, scratch golfer. But I talk to him all the time. I'm going to see one of my great players this weekend, Keith Jackson from Little Rock, going to meet me in Dallas. We're going to see Ricky Dixon, who's on the ballot for coach.
I tried to get Keith on our show, and he never did answer the phone, so I'm going to keep
Keith
trying.
Jackson, get him. You got his number. I gave you his number, didn't I? He's in Little Rock.
Yeah.
He's got a great program in Little Rock called Positive Atmosphere Reaches Kids at Risk. He's done a great job. He's educated so many kids, hundreds of kids. And
I'd like to get him on our show. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, he's got a wonderful program. He gave up $3 million pro tight end career. And he won the Super Bowl with Green Bay, and he just said, I'm going back to Little Rock where all that gangbanging is going on. And he has done something. The Reynolds Foundation only gave the three states, Arkansas, Nevada, and Oklahoma. And Reynolds Foundation gave him a $10 million grant, and he went and matched it with Walmart, stands, and all. He built the damnedest facility there in Little Rock for kids, and for not only educating them, they can't even go out and touch a football or basketball or get in the weight room, whatever, till 2 hours of academics after the buses drop them off at 3:30 every day at his facility. He's done one hell of a job. It's unbelievable what he does there, has done there. But I hope you can get Keith on there. But Keith and I are going to see Ricky Dixon, who needs to be in the Hall of Fame, All-American, the fifth player picked in the draft, played the pro ball for 6-7 years, was a great safety for me, and was Jim Thorpe Award winner, top defensive back in the country. He's not going to make it to December. I hope he does. I want to get him in this year.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyway,
appreciate it.
I'll wore you out.
You're great.
Call me again in a couple of months, okay?
Thanks.